This is the human heart. Central to our physical body, our survival, revered by poets throughout history as the emotional center of our being. The place we instinctively touch when asked to point to ourselves. And now, what we have known intuitively is being understood scientifically. Researchers are unlocking a new science of the heart that could change everything we know about health and our interconnected nature. Coherence is a state of balance between heart, mind, and emotions, creating a favorable cascade of neural, hormonal, and biochemical events that benefit the entire body. But this phenomenon not only benefits us personally, it affects everything around us, emitting an electromagnetic field that can be measured up to 3 feet outside of the body. When you are in coherence, your heart resonates at the same frequency as the Earth's magnetic field. This frequency positively affects everything around you. When a group of people are in coherence together, this effect is magnified. Could communities synchronized in coherence lower violence, accelerate cooperation, and global harmony? This is the purpose of the Global Coherence Pulse. If we can measure the impact of thousands of people in coherence at the same time, it could lead to a breakthrough in understanding the full potential of the human heart. All you need to participate is your presence and your heart. To take it to the next level, join the research study by downloading the app and getting an HRV monitor to measure your personal coherence. The world needs it more than ever before. Each human heart is unique and magnificent by itself. But imagine what could be possible when we unify.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Global Coherence Pulse. I love seeing all of the names coming in. So beautiful to see everybody here. I see people from Germany and the Netherlands and Tokyo and Arizona and Canada and Germany, Colorado. Wow, Spain or Australia. We're coming in from everywhere. Thank you so much for joining us today. I love that question in the video. Can communities synchronized in coherence lower violence, accelerate cooperation, and global harmony? It's a really important question because what we believe affects how we act. So I'm going to launch a little poll and see how many of you believe that us coming together in coherence like this really can have an impact on the planet. Wow. Most of us are saying yes. Great. I'm just going to let that poll continue. Go ahead and I'm going to end the poll and I'm going to show you the results. So because we believe it takes what we're doing today in these synchronized events and really talks about the impact that they actually have. If we believe that's true, then this is a worthy pursuit. And with tools like the Global Coherence app and the sensor and synchronized events like this, we're beginning to be able to measure the impact of our coherence and help raise awareness about the inherent capacity of our collective human heart to affect a fundamental shift in the global field from fear to love. And that is the theme of our pulse today, establishing love as a planetary baseline. And we're here not only to share about the potential of our individual and collective coherence, we're here to experience it. And through the potency of our collective coherence, support each other to cultivate the capacity to sustain it in the face of whatever we face. We're facing a lot together. So I want to start today by thanking you for contributing your time and your presence today to pulse the planet with love. Your presence matters, and we're glad. So my name is Teresa Collins, and I'm one of the co-founders of the Global Coherence Pulse. And this is our 28th Pulse event. Can't believe it. How many of you have been here on Pulses before? I'd love to see in the chat. If this is your first time, please let us know so that others in the community can welcome you. It really does make a difference that you're here. So I'm joined today. Maybe we can spotlight our friends if you guys would turn on your cameras. I'm joined today by Pulse founders Rollin McCraty, who's the Director of Research for HeartMath Institute, and a real swell guy. I love hanging out with Rollin. He's so much fun. He's really fun. And he also is really a pioneer in being able to tell the story of the potency of the human heart. And we're also joined by Claudia Wells, who's ION's board president, Institute of Noetic Sciences. She's co-founder of the Global Coherence Initiative. She's also the co-founder of the Global Coherence Pulse. And I would say a deeply committed, heart-centered citizen scientist, and really a dear soul sister. So Claudia, I'm so excited that we have you today as well. And also we're joined by Manose, who is a musician. I think he's like a cosmic priest and certainly a joy body practitioner. He was with us yesterday doing an ecstatic dance party for our community, just always bringing his love and energy into the field. And we're going to be going back to basics today. It's like perfect with this particular group of people. And it's always good to go back to the simple concepts and practices that really support us to cultivate greater coherence. So we're going to begin the pulse today with an experience with Rollin sharing the science and simple truths about the potency and potential of the human heart. And then Claudia will guide us in a coherence meditation practice. And Manose will guide us in and out of that meditation with his presence and his music. And then we'll close with some reflections and some wonderful announcements. And that's our 75-minute session. So before I turn it over to Rollin, let's just all take a minute to relax together and bring our attention really to this present moment right now. Remember, if we believe that coming together in coherence has an impact on the field, then what we're doing today is really important for all of life. So let's just take a moment. Maybe you can keep your eyes open and place your hands on your heart and just begin to follow your breath with your awareness. That simple act of pausing, placing your attention on your heart and your breath. I like to feel the bottom of my feet as I do that, so that I'm really, really connected with the earth. And I'm just really present right here. And let's just slow our breath just a little bit and imagine that our breath is moving in and out of our heart. And imagine with every inhale, you're breathing in life. Glorious, abundant, diverse, life-renewing life. Every breath is breathing in life. And every exhale, you're breathing out your appreciation, your gratitude, your reverence, and your commitment to taking care. So we just, for this next 75 minutes, let's just focus on breathing in life and breathing out love. And with every breath, we just keep breathing in more life. And as we exhale, we keep filling the space around us, our bodies, and out into the shared field we're creating today with more love. Because what we feed the field matters. And that is a direct quote from my friend Rollin McCraty. And I'm going to turn the mic over to you with that.
Thanks, Teresa. What a lovely introduction. And good day, everyone from around the world. I've actually got the Global Coherence app on, and what's really awesome here, seeing all the dots from around the world, and all the dots of really light radiating from all of you. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Let's see if I can get the right button here. Oh, it says I cannot share while others are sharing, so we need to do something there on the background. There we go. Thank you. Okay. So what I wanted to cover today is really how love connects us. And I'm going to be showing you some really new data that's kind of hot off the presses, so to speak. But before I do that, I thought it'd be good just to think about love. What is love? I mean, there's many types and kinds of love that we all experience. There's, love of our partners, our spouses, the love you might have for a child or a sibling, the love we have for a country or nature, all kinds and types and ranges of love that we experience. And I think then as we really mature in our love, then it can move into what many would call unconditional love, the love that's boundless, if you will, that isn't really tied to anything. But love, I also think of love as intelligence, the intelligence that really organizes the universe, that gives structure, that type of love. And that's really the type of love we're talking about when we pulse the planet, the unconditional love, or the love we might, however you think of that. You could be love from universal source that we try and resonate with and connect with and then broadcast that. And some perceive that Earth is a very special place in our neck of the woods of the universe, if you will, a place that many would think of as an advanced school where we come to learn about choice and emotions and how to really evolve our emotions to be more in line with the planetary vibration, which from my perspective, the primary frequency of Earth, its baseline frequency is actually love. Which gives rise to nature and how the frequency of thriving for nature. And that humanity for a very long time has really been out of phase with the baseline frequency of Earth. And that's really what the shift is all about from my perspective. It is really learning to connect with the deeper heart, the deeper aspects of the heart and love, and return to being in phase with the baseline frequency of Earth. So in a way, that's really what the Global Coherence Initiative is all about, the Global Consciousness Project, too, that we're involved in now and becoming the new host for in partnership with IONS and others. The Tree Project that we're getting ready to release here shortly. We're monitoring the electrical potentials of trees to see how they respond to the love that we feed the field. And these types of initiatives are really all about verifying what we feed the field matters, as Teresa said, in ways that we can measure that. And the hope there is that will motivate more if we can really prove this scientifically of how deeply and fundamentally connected we are, and that what we feed the field matters, that motivates more and more people to take self-responsibility for what we are feeding the field, as we understand that really does matter. So what I'd like to share with you today is just a very brief review of what heart coherence is and some of the new data about how love actually does connect us. So let me get started here. So this is just a quick review here of how our emotions are reflected in the rhythms of the heart. And this is called heart rate variability. And as you would see here on this graph, when we're feeling things like frustration or irritation, worry, fear, the heart rhythm actually becomes more chaotic looking, more, well, what we call incoherent. And this is actually literally reflecting that the activity in our brain and nervous system is out of sync. It's not a very energy efficient state for us to be in. And as many studies have shown that the way the heart and brain communicate, this leads to what you might think of as brain fog or not making good choices, these types of things. On the other hand, on the right side, this is what we call a coherent heart rhythm. And this is what our heart's beating out, the pattern it's naturally beating out when we're actually having heartfelt feelings of things like emotions like appreciation, gratitude, kindness, compassion. And it's very much feeling driven. This is not something that you can just shift into from a mental thought about it. It's the actual feeling experience. And it's not about always walking around with our heart rhythms in this coherent state during the day, because, as we go about our day-to-day activities and things, that the physical activities and stuff will override the subtlety of the emotional expression. But it is about, in our quieter moments, taking the time to really focus inward, focus in the area of the heart and making that shift, activating those feelings of love and compassion and care to shift into coherence. And that's just an awesome thing to do before we make an important decision or before we do whatever form or type of meditation one might be into. Getting coherent first really stabilizes the nervous system and really helps align the heart and brain. So it's just a great practice that you can do even in between moments. And a lot of people have been asking over the pulses, well, what is a coherence point? Those of you that are using the app. And by the way, you don't have to have a sensor to use the app. It's great to participate so we can show up on the map and help track how many people and where you are who are actually pulsing the planet. But this graph just on the top shows a typical heart rhythm. And on the bottom, we are showing the coherence score, which are the same thing as coherence points. And as the heart rhythm becomes more sine wave like that, more rhythmic pattern that I showed you, the higher the score. So we're calculating the coherence from your heart rhythm, from your physiological state over the last minute. And every 5 seconds, we update that. So it's always moving ahead and giving you a new score and point average every 5 seconds. So that's what you see here. And it's very clear as the rhythm becomes stable, because we're looking for a state change, not transient change. So as we're able to really maintain that coherent rhythm over a little longer time period, then the coherence score starts going up, way up. And by the way, this is not about trying to be the highest points in the world, that kind of thing. A score of even 2 is really good. And then we can build from there. So this is really somebody who's quite practiced here. I'm showing you just to give you the example of how the scoring works. So just again, a quick review of things we've talked about before on previous pulses. When we measure the electrocardiogram here in the lab, and we put electrodes across your chest, or the same thing for measuring brain waves, we put electrodes on the head. What's actually being measured is current flow, electricity, the flow of electricity. But whenever we have electrical flows of current, we create magnetic fields. And magnetic fields, one of the properties of them is they easily travel through things like outside of the skin and radiate into the environment around us, which is represented by the graphic you see here on the slide. And the shape of the magnetic field of the heart actually is a toroidal shape like you see here. And this is why cell phones work indoors. It's the magnetic component that carries that information, from the phone through the walls, etc., to the cell tower. But if the field is just carrying information, it isn't the information, it's the carrier of it. And as it turns out, we work the same way. And we can decode, I'll show you that in the next slide, the information being carried by the field. So the vibrational patterns really are reflecting our attitudes, our emotions, the quality of our interactions with others, but especially our mental and emotional state. And as many studies have now shown and really quite proven quite clearly, is that the vibrational quality of our field is detected by others and does have a measurable effect on them. So think of this as your personal field environment. So this is just a slide here. I won't go into detail. basically showing the patterns of information being carried by the heart's field. And the main thing here is to understand they're different. Appreciation looks very different than anger. We won't go into a lot of depth here. But as we're in that more coherent heart state, we are literally radiating a measurably more coherent signal into the field environment. And multiple studies have now shown, as I mentioned earlier, that this was an experiment where about 40 people were involved and seated around a table, and some were taught how to make that shift into heart coherence about 2 weeks before the experiment. These were all new people coming in to learn this. And then the fourth person didn't know what the study was really about. And at random times, the 3 people around the table were signaled to shift into coherence. And as you can kind of see indicated on the slide, when they did that, not every case, every time, but overall, a highly significant effect, there was a lifting of the other person who had no idea what was going on into a more coherent state. So this is measurable. This is real. When we're more coherent, it really does help others around us. So now if we take it from the kind of local environment in more to the non-local environment, is kind of where I'd like to go here. And this is some of the exciting new work I want to show you. And we've been doing this work here in our lab, but also in collaboration with a fellow researcher in the UK, Peter Granger. And this is actually from our data, not his, even though it's got his name on it. But these are an experiment that we had 20 people in a room. And right now this is a control example, and you see the heart rhythms of 2 different people. And there's really not much, what we would say, synchronization or correlation between the two. So this is what would be typical. Now in this experiment, we then kind of, there was a whole bunch of phases we went through, but this is the one I wanted to kind of focus on, where we had them we paired them up. I don't mean next to each other necessarily, but it would be like to say it was Teresa and I would be focusing and sending love and appreciation to Teresa and Teresa to me, no matter where you were located in the room. And what we saw during this phase was, as you can see here, an amazing degree of synchronization between the hearts of these pairs of individuals. So this is actually real, true heart-to-heart synchronization that's going on. So the frequencies of their rhythms across these different frequencies are literally synchronizing with each other. On the right side of the graph are what's called power spectrum, so you can actually see the frequencies. And then you're looking at the rhythms and time on the right side. So this was pretty amazing to see this level of synchronization. Now, this is some of the work with Peter Granger. What you're looking here now is, this is one of his earlier experiments with husband and wife in this case, and they're actually in separate buildings, but on the same physical property, about 82 feet apart. And what you see here is that when they feel love, when the husband is really feeling love and appreciation for the wife, that their heart rhythms come into this amazing degree of synchronization. And this is way past what we can measure the magnetic field from the heart, but that's another topic of how that goes non-locally, which I've covered in some previous pulses. Now, we take it a step farther. Now, this is two individuals over 5,000 miles apart. So one in the UK and one in the United States. And again, well, in this case, while one is focusing love and appreciation to the other, that you see this synchronization occur. Now I'm going to zero in a little bit on the next slide. And so you can just see the detail here of just how in sync they really are. And again, this is just not what you normally see when people are going about their normal periods. Okay, so then before I describe what happened here in this slide, there's a couple of major findings that are coming out of the non-local synchronization, heart-to-heart synchronization work. One is that one of the more important, probably the most important indicator or variable, we would say scientifically, that predicts or is equated with the synchronization capacity to occur is the emotional connection. There has to be a love connection. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're lovers or husband and wife, but that there is a strong, positive emotional connection. If it's, kind of I don't really like you, I'll work with you, but, don't want to hang out with you, you don't really see synchronization occur. And then the other thing that is an important factor, or can be, is one of the significant variables, is our capacity to be coherent in our own physiology. So those are two things that are already emerging. Now, this slide that you see here, this is from a study that was actually just published about 2 weeks ago in a pretty good journal, actually. And this was a study where people wore recorders, heart rate variability recorders, 24 hours a day for weeks. And this was from a group of, actually, this was called the International HRV Synchronization Study, with groups all around the world. And we had 5 groups in countries like Saudi Arabia, Lithuania, New Zealand, California, and one in the UK. And there are 20 people in each group. And I'm just showing you the data from the group. I believe this is the Lithuania group here. It doesn't really matter which group I show you, they all look the same in terms of the change. And we were also then monitoring the magnetic frequencies, the rhythms and the resonant frequencies in the Earth's magnetic field. And what you're basically seeing on the left side of this graph is at the individual level, how in sync they were with their heart rhythms, slow wave and the heart rhythms, with the rhythms in the Earth's magnetic field over a 24-hour period. So this was done every day. In the middle of this study, all of the groups at the same time did a 15-minute heart lock-in, very much like we're doing here in the pulses, and basically sent love and appreciation to all the others in all the groups, and then out to the Earth and the planetary field. And what we saw was just amazing. In fact, we spent a lot of time trying to make this effect go away. It's so surprising. On the right, what you see here is that 15-minute, it's just 15 minutes of being in heart coherence, increased their synchronization with the Earth, the rhythms in the Earth, over the entire next 24-hour period. So in other words, just getting coherent in our own system has, as we know, many benefits for us personally, and also in our personal field environment. But it also increases our synchronization with the Earth itself. And now there are many new studies coming out that are really showing and indicating why that's a good thing, why we really want to be in sync. Now, in this study, we also looked at the synchronization with each other in the various groups. So not only did the coherence increase our coherence, but it also increased the synchronization with all the group members in each of the groups and with the Earth itself. So basically, that's some of the newer data I thought would love to share with you today, or thought you would enjoy seeing. So kind of in closing, it's really about awakening the power of our heart and increasing the energy moving through our system. And one of the best ways to do that, at least that I can share from my personal life, is consciously broadcasting love, just being aware of it, or be in between the moments throughout the day, just pausing, radiating love into our personal field environment, into the global field environment. And the more we can do that, the more it helps us and those around us and the greater planetary field environment. So broadcasting love, it really helps strengthen our intuitive connection with our higher self, with our larger self, as we call it here, whatever term you want to use, that internal connection with, which is what really helps unfold who we really are. And so sending coherent heart energy and our intentions to the field really helps facilitate humanity and the planet. We can focus that up to nature or to a place in the world that's going through a lot of extra stress and challenges. So please join us in all the pulses, if you can, to pulse the planet with love. So I truly do believe we are at a point in the evolutionary history of consciousness that we can make a great next leap in consciousness. And that really has to do with integrating the heart intelligence with, or the mind really surrendering to the heart's intelligence. So let's all come together and pulse the field with more love and care for each other. Claudia, I will turn it over to you to take us through the next phase of our global pulse.
Thank you, Teresa and Rollin. Rollin, we so appreciate you coming on to ground us in the emerging science of how love connects us. It's always such a wonderful empowerment for our actual pulsing. And before we go into our meditation, we have the musical opportunity to move into more of a heart space with one of our favorite artists, who I am now considering the cosmic priest of the pulse, Manose, well known and loved by our frequent pulsers, and a wonderful surprise for those of you who are new to him. So Manose, can you please carry us away?
Thank you, Claudia. Thank you, Rollin. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you, all the team. And thank you, all of you, the light-hearted, amazing soul out there. Namaste, Dasidele, Salam, Salom, Hallelujah. Please send some extra love to people in Nepal and India and South Asia. We sing for the mother, we sing for the mother, we sing for the mother inside of us. We sing for the ocean, we sing for the rivers, we sing for the trees, and we sing for the bees. Jai Ma, Jai Ma, Acho Mama, 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 Jai Ma, Maria, Maria, Durga Ma, Konyan Ma. We sing for the mother, we sing for the mother, we sing for the mother, mother. We sing for the ocean, we sing for the river, we sing for the trees, we sing for the bees, we sing for you. We sing for everybody on this planet. We sing for us. We sing for humanity. Jai Ma, Jai Ma, Jai Ma. Hariyama Konyanma Ochunma Kalima Change Pachuma Mama Pachuma Mama Sing for the mother. We sing for the mother. We sing for the mother inside of
Thank you, Manose. Thank you, beautiful being. And thank you all for bringing your hearts into our pulse today. We're going to go into the pulse in a moment. See if you can stay in this nice heart space while I just share a few reminders. It's good practice that we're part of a scientific experiment, and we're using networks of instrumentation to help illuminate the depth of our interconnectedness on personal, social, and planetary levels. But we're not trying to create an effect in our pulse. We're not thinking about the technology, whether we're connected or not. We're just claiming our coherence. Remember, our coherence doesn't depend on the personal technology of the app and sensor. All we need is your presence and your heart. But with the technology, we can observe our personal and collective skill building and measure our impact, especially if we're in the Global Coherence Pulse public group on the app during the pulse instead of the global group. Because through this initiative, we can provide vital data for scientists, which we'll be sharing with you when we have enough of it. And we thank you for participating. So let's move into our pulsing. I'm going to put some music on for us. And if someone could just give me a thumbs up that you can hear the music.
Yes, we can.
Thank you, Teresa. So everyone just take a nice, refreshing breath. I'd like to continue transitioning into our pulse by keying in on what Rollin said about that the planetary baseline is already love. We're just out of phase with it. It's such an important and liberating distinction. It means we don't have to establish it. Our opportunity is to get into phase with it, to get into sync with the coherence that is nature's intelligence, to cooperate with this power of connection that organizes parts into greater wholes, including humanity all of life, our planet, and beyond. As Janine Snyder shared on an earlier pulse this year, coherence is resonance with all creation. And we're using the intelligence of our hearts to attune to that resonance. Our practice today is based on what the art and science of heart coherence has shown about how to embody regenerative emotions, even when it's not easy. And let's face it, it's not always easy in today's world. But we want to go deeper than thoughts of love that may be riding on the frequencies of fear or despair over the perceived lack of it. It can be easier here together in safety and resonance. And then there's daily life. As cosmologist Brian Swim says, we were born into a pre-traumatized world. Fortunately, we know coherence is the power that heals all fragmentation in any system. Mystic philosopher Krishnamurti said, enlightenment is an accident, but certain activities make us more accident prone. That's why we're practicing. My experience of heart coherence is, it's like that. It's a little bit of an accident, happening mostly in response to what happens to us in the external world. Like someone showing us a act of kindness and favorable conditions. But can make coherence the cause rather than the effect of conditions in our lives. For the 2% that responded that they weren't sure if this makes a difference, some inspiration from astrobiologist Bruce Damer, whose work is in discovering the origins of life, who said that in his opinion, creating coherence through tools for healing separation is the most important work of the 21st century. And that's what we're doing. And from Apollo 14 astronaut, sixth man to walk on the moon, and the founder of the Institute of Noetic Sciences, Captain Ed Mitchell, who through his epiphany of oneness in space, believed that agape love, or unconditional love, is the organizing principle of the entire universe. That's what we're getting in phase with. There are 3 steps to this meditation. They're deceptively simple because a lot of complex changes begin to happen when we take them. The 3 steps are heart-focused breathing, heart feeling, and heart radiating. And today we're going to take the time to walk through the steps that can help us use our hearts to gain the cooperation of our brains and bodies, even in challenging circumstances, so our heart's intelligence can start taking the lead. I'll be guiding you so your brain will be engaged during the meditation as well, but that's part of what makes it good practice. Please feel free to tune me out, turn off your volume, and do your own preferred coherence practice. Silence is wonderful for that. The Pulse highlights many different kinds of meditations for building coherence. Many paths, one destination. But Rollin and I are here to remind us all of the core science and the foundational practices that the science inspires. One last bit of wisdom that really applies to building coherence is, if it's not simple, make it easy. If it's not easy, make it simple. So though the steps require focus, we want to be in the domain of effortless action. You can close your eyes or keep them open. It's actually great to practice heart coherence with your eyes open, like a superpower. You can do it in the middle of an activating conversation and completely change the outcome. So if you're comfortable, start to shift the focus of your attention to your heart. Even more. Some people like to place their hand over their heart to help their attention locate it in their physical body. How often do we visit our heart with our full awareness? Often we don't, because it can bring up pain or disappointment, so it's easier to stay in our heads. We only need to practice to gain more reliable access to our heart's intelligence. When it's not easy to put your attention on your heart, for whatever reason, find a part of your body where it is easy to put your attention, where there's no tension, no resistance, and start there. Let that be your doorway for shifting energy out of your head. Resonate with that part until it feels safe to return to your heart. Next, imagine breathing in and out through your heart to help anchor your attention there. Science confirms that as soon as we place our attention on a part of the body, that part of the body changes. It's our attention that energizes those changes. In heart-focused breathing, a cascade of beneficial physiological changes begin to occur. Allow your breath to flow naturally, a little more deeply and slowly than normal, but easy. Be easy. I think Yoda would say, there is no try, only do. Exhale as completely as possible. Some traditions believe that the breath starts with the exhale. You'll notice that when you exhale fully, the in-breath is automatic. See in your mind's eye, your breath and attention start to resonate in your heart. And know that while this feels relaxing, it's more than relaxation, because we're maintaining a focused attention on our heart breathing. While relaxation lowers our heart rate, coherence orders our heart rate variability, even at higher rates. So coherence is an active state that requires our awareness, our attention, and our presence. The next step is heart feeling. Invite your heart to feel love, gratitude, joy, compassion, appreciation, or care, any authentic regenerative emotion. A regenerative emotion is simply one that brings life force into your body. You know it when you feel it. It can be for someone or something in your life or not. It could be as personal as gratitude for the native intelligence of your body or the beating of your own heart. Without it, there would be no life in you. It can be as impersonal as gratitude for Earth's magnetic field. Without it, there would be no life on Earth. And it can be as removed from life circumstances as feeling gratitude for the love that just is. A love that's the source of all love. That's the organizing principle of all life. This, in my opinion, is the real Jedi move, and how we begin to get in phase with unconditional love, with non-contingent gratitude and joy. Remember to be easy. When it's not easy to feel gratitude, that's okay. We can invite a memory or a thought that gives us access to regenerative feelings. And as soon as we can, we let go of the memory or thought. Just let it fade away and stay with the feeling. Because we're practicing the recognition that these regenerative emotions can exist independent of any external circumstance. The Dalai Lama says, when the world looks bad, look at a flower. There is another truth. Even when the flower is not physically there, we can connect in our hearts with that simultaneous truth and shift our whole mind-body state. Same's actually true for smiling. Thich Nhat Hanh says, sometimes your joy is the source of your smile, but sometimes your smile can be the source of your joy. Finally, when it's not easy to connect to a good feeling memory or thought, that's okay too. Try holding an attitude of gratitude, care, or compassion, and let it be your intention. Every cell of our body is affected by the frequency of our attitudes and intentions. Mystic philosopher Meister Eckhart said, if the only prayer you ever say in your entire life is thank you, it will be enough. And when even saying thank you is hard, see if you can let in the gratitude others have for you. Sense our gratitude for you being part of this community. For the gratitude that life has for you, for being a co-creative part of the human community, helping evolve life in this challenging leading edge environment. Sustaining these regenerative feelings or attitudes starts to anchor the psychophysiological changes taking place and changes the information encoded in our heart's electromagnetic field. The last step is placing your attention on radiating your coherent vibrations. Broadcast love to the cells in your inner world. Then include everyone on this call as cells in one social body connected through the resonance of love. Continue broadcasting to touch every cell of our planetary body and beyond, out into the universal. See how far you can go. The Upanishads consider the heart the fulcrum of the entire cosmos, so there may be no limit to how far our coherence extends. How far can you touch with your coherence, with your love, without efforting? You can also stay close to home. We had a call in the chat for sending love to Israel, Gaza, Palestine. You can do that. Or we can just hold the general intention for all of life. When you're ready, come back to yourself and bring all of that love and expansion back into your own cells. And proceed with the faith that the coherence that we're generating knows where to go. And that we are aligning with nature's intelligence, helping create a critical mass of islands of coherence with so many others, uplifting the entire field environment and shifting the whole system to a higher order. We're all part of one universal being governed by vibrations. With our coherence, we can create a rising tide that lifts all boats. Are we really that powerful? Wisdom traditions have long told us that we are. The Upanishads again say an invisible and subtle essence is the spirit of the whole universe. That is reality. That is truth. And thou art that. Manose, I'd like to return to you for the closing minutes of our pulse, please. Cosmic Priest.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hallelujah. 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 Sometimes soft, sometimes strong. This is how we sing our song. Sometimes soft, sometimes strong. It's but a dream. We row a boat upon the stream. This is how we pass our day. Little falls upon the way. Thank you, thank hallelujah. Sing it all. Sometimes soft, sometimes strong. This is how we sing our song.
Thank you, Manose. Thank you, Claudia. I'm going to go to gallery view. If Rollin, you turn on your camera, maybe see all of us. That was such a beautiful pulse. I hope you all appreciated just going back to the basics, right? When we know the science of the heart and we have a chance to experience just the simple practices of coherence and then have that experience all together like this. Because it really is, I believe, one of the most important things we could be doing on the planet right now is to cultivate greater coherence and to join our hearts together to pulse the planet with love. And I wonder, before we go to our announcements, and I hope you'll stay because we have a special blessing with the global peace prayer and a special video of Manose we thought we'd play at the end for anybody that wants to linger. But I just thought maybe Rollin, if you just had some closing words you wanted to say today for this pulse. Thank you so much for coming and for all that you've done over the years to bring this really important information to the community in such a sweet way.
Well, thank you. And thank you, Claudia, for a wonderful meditation. I really enjoyed that. You can do it. That's why I always love to do these with you, because you bring a quality that I couldn't even touch in terms of what you bring. Head and heart, I guess. Good combination. So any closing comments I would have would really be what I was saying earlier, is to really become more aware of what we're feeding the field, to pause throughout the day whenever we can remember to do so. And, ask ourselves, what am I feeding the field? Is it love, compassion, kindness, or maybe feelings of frustration or impatience and so on? And know that we have the power to shift if we are maybe in our lower vibration state, that we can go to the heart and raise our vibration and lift ourselves and those around us, and at the same time, the planet.
Thank you, Rollin. Claudia, yes, beautiful meditation. Thank you so much for your presence and your voice, your heart.
Well, thank you, Teresa, for always setting the perfect environment for us to step into. And Rollin, again, thank you for the science. I mean, that I consider that it saved my life in a big way, because I just didn't know how to trust what I knew without the science. And it's just such an important step in our evolution as a species to really recognize who we are and how powerful we are, what we're capable of. And thank you to everyone who joined. We can feel you. And this was, someone put in the chat, we were at a 2.8 high, I think, on the app. And that does sound to me like one of the higher numbers we've ever produced. So not that that's what it's about, but it's cool anyway. And so I'll just say thank you. I know you have a lot of announcements, Teresa. Thank you, everyone. So grateful. Oh, and Manose, Cosmic Priest. Teresa, I love that. It's so right on.
It is. Manose, thank you so much for bringing your love and presence. It's always makes my heart just kind of sing and a little tear in my eye. I just love that. Thank you so much. And maybe some closing words from you, and then stick around because we want to play your video too.
That's going to be kind of funny. Thank you guys. You know, you guys are really the stakeholder of love. You know, as I see, you are what you pulse is goes all over the world, and you bring, you build a bridge between this the world of duality. Um, um, yes, I just wanted to also, I'm really heartbroken right now because what's happening in Nepal and India, and I call, you know, every day I'm talking to my friends, and here somebody dies, somebody dies, somebody dies. It's really sad, and situation is so bad. It's so out of control. So please pray for humanity. Pray for humanity, and I'm doing what I can from my side. I have a group of people that have worked, that have done good job for humanitarian work. Tomorrow, actually, I'm going to have an interview with former ambassador of Nepal, who's a good friend of mine. So I'm going to go live with him in my personal Facebook page and see what can we do to help people. So thank you. Thank you. Yeah, and any of you feel like help anyways, contact me directly. Contact me, and I'll make sure that your prayer will be there. The people who want to take a last breath in their loved one as they are dying. So thank you so much. Thank you. Love you. Love you. Namaste.
Thank you, Manose. I also put a link in the chat a few times. Manose is actually raising funds for telemedicine for family and friends in Nepal.
Yeah,
And it's an important time. It's an important
just
time.
want to tell you
Yeah.
what telemedicine is. What happening right now in Nepal is, in India, people just going to the hospital and getting crowded. And that's the telemedicine is, you don't need to go to hospital. There's hotlines, so like 911. There's lots of doctors kind of just wait for you to, you know, get your calls. And there's so many remote villages out there. So that's, we have set up for that. And that's the telemedicine. Thank you. Thank you, Teresa. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, it's important. You know, this is when we get to put our heart in action, and moments like this when we can send our love in that way. So thank you, Manose.
Thank you.
And yeah, I'm going to share my screen. We've got some really wonderful announcements. There's so much happening as people around the world um, take their heart-centered coherence and start to express it in their passions and purpose. And we're seeing that exploding everywhere. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So some of you were asking if this recording was going to be available, and we always post it on the website, and we also send it out to everybody who has registered on our website. And if you're here, it's because you registered in some way. And I want to thank all of the organizations that have been for the last year with us, sharing about the Global Coherence Pulse, inviting their communities to come in and join us. Our numbers have been growing. We had 500 people on the line today. Gosh, it was exactly 500, which I loved. And it really only takes small numbers of us in coherence to really shift the tide. We've also, in partnership with the Global Coherence Pulse, created the Islands of Coherence, which is a heart-centered social network. And so if you're looking to connect with other people who are choosing to be in the deep practice of cultivating greater heart coherence and exploring what it means to be an island of coherence in these times, this is the place to come and play and hang out and share your passions and purpose and to connect with others. And we have lots of ways to do that. So I hope you'll join us in the Islands of Coherence. And in there, we're creating like a virtual village-like space. It's interesting, we're online more and more together. And when we start to actually realize that we can connect powerfully through the field of our presence, then networks like this begin to have a deeper impact. So imagine that this is a place where we can join together and begin to empower each other, and where we can start to grow together the resources we need for our health and well-being and our individual and collective coherence practices and releasing trauma, discovering our purpose and synergizing our energies. You know, we can together put together the resources that we all need in order to support us to make this shift. And the nice thing about the Islands of Coherence is that our partners, you know, which are in some ways like little icons on our website, actually become communities of practice, and all in one place. You can find some of the organizations that you love and want to follow and really be able to create your own feed where you see the things that you want to engage in that empower you. And we have lots of different organizations that are joining the Islands of Coherence. And something that we're going to launch today, because this is what I see happening when in my mind's eye, it's like there's a solar system of organizations and initiatives, and we're all beginning to connect and join our love and energies together. And we're creating some really beautiful thing together. So we're claiming today that there's a love fest happening. And it's a collaborative festival that is part of what all is emerging naturally as we, inspired individuals and organizations, begin to express our passions and purpose in events and activities and projects and experiences. And so today, this pulse is part of the Love Fest, right? The Islands of Coherence is going to act as a festival headquarters. And what that means is that we will create a single calendar, and we'll put in there as much of the different things that we know are happening with our partners and our clusters and our members, and that we will be able to make more visible the amazing emergence of love and celebration and joy and healing that are happening on the planet. And here's some of the things that are part of that Love Fest, right? Tonight, Saturday Night Alive, and the Global Coherence Pulse and the Islands of Coherence are co-hosting this event. And the theme for tonight is becoming an island coherence and pulsing the planet with love. And all of our guests tonight are going to really explore, so how do we do that? What's required of us to become an island of coherence? So it'll be fun, and I hope you'll join us. Uplift tomorrow is having a day-long festival of love, a celebration of love with lots of different presenters and musicians. And it really should be a powerful day to continue what we've generated today into the weekend. Next week, Illuminate Film Festival is launching. And again, really beautiful films, empowering opportunities to join together. They have a deep dive that they're doing for people that want to participate. So check out the film festival. Kaylin's putting links in the chat for all of this. World Unity Week is coming up, and we've been on some calls. The Pulse will actually participate in World Unity Week, and we will post the field every day of World Unity Week. So we hope you'll join us for that. And if you want to do an offering, you can check out their website, and they are creating a collaborative festival within that week. And I'm going to stop my share just for a moment so I can turn on some music. And I'd like to do one more thing before we play Manose's video. One of our founding partners in the Global Coherence Pulse, Sandra Hay from Earth Dance, has recently passed away. And today they're having a memorial service for her. And we can't be there because we're here with the Pulse. So we wanted to just take this moment to just honor Sandra and our partners at Earth Dance that have really been so involved with us in the Global Coherent Pulse. And I'm going to just invite us to imagine that we are all in a circle together around the planet as this prayer for peace happens. And Sandra's.
Global family, all colors, all races, one world, united. We dance for peace and the healing of our planet Earth. Peace for all nations, peace for our communities, and peace within ourselves. As we join all dance floors across the world, let us connect heart to heart. Through our diversity, we recognize unity. Through our compassion, we recognize peace. Our love is the power to transform our world. Let us send it out now.
Thank you, Sandra and Earth Dance, for all of the love that you bring to the planet forever, and celebrate you, celebrate beautiful prayer for peace. Thank you so much for sharing that moment with me. I really wanted to be with friends celebrating Sandra's life. And so I wanted to just bring her in today. And we're going to really miss her presence. And I know she's still with us and holding the field with love. So for those of you who have stayed around, thank you so much for being here. And we would like to play a video that Manose, I wonder if you're there and you want to just say something about this video that you've created recently during the COVID time, and a little treat for all of us that are staying on.
Thank you, Teresa. Thank you for well, this video, like I call it pandemic boredom bash. I have been traveling for the last 20 years all over the world. Some of I've been traveling with Deba Miten for the last 15 years, and I have 15 years always on the road. I'm gone more than 6 months out of a year. And so this year, it's in a way a blessing that I could be home with the family, and being a, a full-time musician, if you have lots of time, you just get, this is what happens. But it's been also very intense for me to, being in States, and all this polarity here is pretty intense. I never felt that before. And with the friends and family, and whenever I get very emotional, my only way I could go and give that is music. I go to music and my creation too, and I just surrender to the grace. And this is something kind of funny, and And I hope you, I hope you don't take it too personally. Anyway, thank you, Teresa.
It's a good fun. It's fun. We need some joy and fun, Manose, and you always bring that.
There's a one line. It goes like this. You gotta move. That's you
All
got.
right,
That's it.
let's that video.
Let's play it. Thank you. I'm a little embarrassed, but I go for it.
Mm.
You got to move. You got to move. You got to move. You got to move. You may be black. You may be blue. You may be white or have no clue. You may be right. You may be left. You may have a flu or singing COVID blues. When the Lord gets ready, you gotta move. When the Lord gets ready, you gotta move. You may be Elon Musk or upside down yogi jars. Maybe fully masked or hang out with nudist class. Or anti-vax, or full of needle track, or high avoiding tax, or eating bean and rice. When the Lord gets ready, you gotta move. When the Lord gets ready, you gotta move. You got to move. You got to move. You got to move. You got to move. When the Lord gets ready, you gotta move. When the Lord gets ready, you gotta move. You may be Buddhist monk, or hiding cats in your trunk, or always dancing funk, or whirling dervish drum, or computer geek, or culty spiritual freak. Maybe your couple hat, or guru singing slacks. When the Lord gets ready, you gotta move. When the Lord gets ready, you gotta move. You may march or dance, or fly your rainbow flag, or colonial king, or starving musician who just cannot sing. You may feel pride, you may feel shame, or feel life is just a game. When the Lord gets ready,
my suit just a moment. I forgot.
That was fun. Thank you, Mike.
That was great.
I enjoyed it myself for first time. Yeah, you gotta move. By the way, that was my daughter at the end, and says it all, no? The most precious is just the smile of a child. That's all we need to care, no?
Yeah, that's so beautiful. Thank you so much, Manose, for bringing the joy in with the love. And we gotta laugh too. I love it. And Karuna, yeah, she's just the cutest.
Yes, and of course, I just wanted to tell that Marshall played that lead guitar, man. He was I know many of you know Marcel Leffers. He is a master guitarist. So and for me it's like just like it took me other 3 months to make this video and recording it and editing it, and it was anyway. It's just a pure. It's just joy center activation.
Yeah. Thank you, Manose. I love your pink wig too. We really need.
Yes,
need to-
well, many people helped here, so lots of Halloween costume that's coming from my cousin Julie.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Thanks for sticking around a little longer for that special Global Peace Prayer and our honoring of Sandra, and also for that fun ending with Manose. Thank you so much. And let's just keep pulsing the planet with our love. It really makes a difference. Blessings, everyone.